Hello, and welcome to the Gen X Dad and his Gen Z Teens podcast. This is a program that takes a lighthearted look at generational differences about all sorts of topics. We explore everything from pop culture to history to relationships to politics, but only at a very shallow level. We don't aim to be controversial or to be the authoritative voice on any topic. We're not social scientists or scientists of any sort for that matter. We're just here to talk about the things that we think are important and that we'll have fun talking about. Also, it is my opportunity to publicly and on the record prove that I am right and my teens are wrong in all cases, and that the 80s and the 90s were absolutely the best time to grow up. Today, our topic is Disney. Now, Disney, since its founding by Walt and Roy Disney, has always been a big part of our culture here in the United States. And now they've grown, the company has grown to where it's a big part of the culture really in the entire world. There's, I think, very few places you're going to go and see or find people that have never heard of Disney or aren't interested in the movies, the characters, the parks, everything that's associated with Disney. It is one of the biggest brands in the entire world. And so let's talk a little bit about what I remember as a teen and what you guys have experienced, and talk about kind of how we feel going forward. So with Disney, it started out with the cartoons and the movies. Growing up, my parents, your guys' grandparents would have grown up with certain movies. Snow White, all of the older movies, Cinderella, all of those. But really things got super energized when Walt opened up Disneyland in California. And that really energized the brand and made it something that now it was a destination. People wanted to see and experience the whole Disney experience. It continued. It's always had a media arm. Wonderful World of Disney was a program that was a weekly program. I used to watch it all the time. Occasionally they would put on the cartoons, which is what I was looking forward to, but a lot of nature shows and just a lot of live action shows that were just great. It was just good quality family entertainment, and I think that's Disney's strongest thing that makes it popular to people of all ages. I first went to Disney World in Orlando when I was 9. And I tell you, that was a good age. It was awesome. I still have great memories of it. I was old enough to go on all the rides and old enough to remember most things. And it was kind of a magical time. Literally, the Magic Kingdom. Now, they only had 2 parks there at the time, the Magic Kingdom, and then Epcot had just opened. And so now, with the parks, you've got in California, you've got Disneyland and California Adventures. And then in Orlando, it's really expanded. You got Disney, the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood, Animal Kingdom, and then all the themed hotels that go with it. Oh, and then the Main Street Disney. So, it's a big deal. Certainly in Orlando, and made Orlando was a bit of a backwater in Florida to a major tourist destination in one of the most popular in the entire world. And then the parks also have expanded out to Paris, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Shanghai, really gone international to help people that maybe couldn't get to California or Florida, made it easier for them to go out and experience it. The parks are awesome. And then over the years, the parks have really fed in. Now there's Disney Cruises, which we've been able to experience twice. That was pretty awesome and exciting. And then the whole media empire that they have with it. Really, they've always been known for their great animation. But when they bought Pixar, that really elevated their entertainment catalog. And then adding Marvel and Star Wars has made the experience pretty awesome there too. So, there's a lot of just energy, and the fact that there's just a lot of cool things that are out there about Disney. So first and foremost, I talked a little bit about me. We have taken you guys. You guys have been to Florida and California. We've never done anything overseas. But let me just ask what your memories of, we'll start with the parks. What do you remember? This is my older teen.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the parks were always fun. I think they were cool experiences, especially, when I was younger, all the rides and stuff. And just kind of just the overall kind of theme park side of it, and just like kind of the experience it gives you. I got a lot of good memories from that, and I think overall it was a good time.
Okay, and my younger teen, actually, our first couple of times, you were just a baby. So you don't remember much from that. But we did go on a special one the last time a couple years ago where you were old enough to remember. But what can you tell everyone about what you remember about visiting the parks?
I don't really remember much. I remember like having a good time, but other than that, I don't remember like many specific things. I just kind of remember that we just went. I don't really remember much else.
Okay, but like I said, we went the last time. I mean, what I remember, you really had fun at the Hollywood one because you liked the Tower of Terror, you liked the roller coasters. I mean, you liked the thrill rides. Those were cool. And you guys were old enough to remember Disneyland. I have actually never been to Disneyland. So, do you remember much from Disneyland when you went?
Yeah, I mean, again, similar to Disney World. It was fun. It was a good time. I think, I liked Disney World a little better because it was bigger. There's more stuff to kind of do. I felt kind of Disneyland. There wasn't as much, and especially in the way of rides, which was kind of my favorite part and my main thing. And I think the rides in World are a little better and more exciting. But I think they're both good parks and they were both fun.
Okay. Now, I talked about the cruises. That was a big thing that we did. One of them was just to signify when I retired from the Air Force. Because Disney does, everything Disney does is a bit of a premium. But again, I mean, they're known for their quality. So the first time we went on a Disney cruise, I mean, I thought it was pretty amazing. That was actually the first time I ever went on a cruise at all. And it was a good place to start. I thought it was really high quality and I enjoyed it. Do you remember much from the cruise?
Yeah, I mean, I remember bits and pieces, and I remember it being fun. Again, there's a lot of stuff to do on the boat, and it being all Disney themed, it was cool too, especially when I was younger. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a fun experience, and it was my first cruise, obviously, so. Just kind of the whole being out on the ship and all that was all kind of cool, just new stuff, especially for me when I was younger.
Okay, what about you?
I really don't remember much from the Disney cruises. I have like a couple just like little like pictures in my head though. Just me and my brother kind of just hanging out, doing like all the water slides. And, like, the splash pads, all that. That's really the only stuff I do remember. But other than that, not much.
So you don't remember the big giant, like, fun zone, kids zone? It was, like, almost a whole deck, like the third floor. And it was two sides. And just you guys would just beep yourselves in and be able to play. That was pretty awesome.
That sounds cool.
But no memory, huh? Oh, come on. I don't think you're trying that hard.
I remember that. That was pretty cool. There was a lot of like kind of cool stuff we could do there. I remember there was like a ship game I used to play a bunch. And then there's just a bunch of other stuff that was really cool there.
So anyway, we really recommend the cruise if you're ever able to do that. And then do you guys remember there was a whole Disney island that you go to in the Bahamas? Do you guys remember the island that much? Yeah, they're shaking their heads, not too much. But that was a pretty cool thing that we did there too. So again, that was a lot of fun. As far as the expansion of Disney, growing up, I've mentioned this before on a previous episode about TV. When we got cable, the Disney Channel was a big deal. I looked forward to getting when we got cable. Now, I mean, Disney, I think, has 2 or 3 channels. And that's just the Disney specific, not the other normal channels that they own as being a giant media company. But we also have the streaming service for Disney. And with that, what do you guys think about the Disney streaming service? Because again, now you have the catalog of all the Disney movies plus Star Wars, Marvel, a lot of nature stuff with National Geographic. I mean, what can you say anything about that?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Especially when I was younger, and if it had been around when I was even younger, that would have been freaking awesome. Kind of nowadays, I use like HBO Max or Netflix a little more than I think Disney Plus, but there's still some cool stuff every once in a while on it. And kind of speaking of the TV, I mean, I remember when I was younger, I used to freaking always watch the Disney Junior stuff. I used to watch that stuff all the time, like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and the shows like that. And that was kind of a big part of my childhood. And then I never got into the whole Disney XD side. But I know a lot of other my friends and stuff were big into that for a while, and that was kind of a thing. So yeah, it's cool.
All right, what about you with all the media stuff, the movies, the TV and stuff?
For Disney Plus, for me, it's nice to go back to like some of the older movies, especially from Marvel and Star Wars. It's nice that they have all of that there, plus more options. But the thing is, with like kind of the new stuff they're putting out on Disney Plus, mainly for Star Wars, you can tell it's just. I think most people can agree that nobody really cares the same way as they did like a while ago with the movies.
Oh, blasphemy. Those are fighting words. All right. So to wrap it up, I mean, I think it's fair to say that Disney has played a pretty significant part in just the culture of we have gone to the parks, we have watched TV shows, we have gone on cruises, okay? So it has impacted us. It's just whether or not the stronger impact. I know because there was less volume of Disney, I think in the 80s or 90s, I mean, you appreciated it more when you got to go. So I'm interested to see. I mean, like I said, it was very impactful for me. It was something big that I look forward to taking you guys to. Do you think it has had a big impact on you?
I think to an extent it has. I think the only thing that has kind of dampened that is just the availability of there's so much other stuff now. But I think it still is kind of a pretty big part of kind of everything. So, yeah.
Okay, what about you?
Yeah. For me, it still is kind of a big deal, but just not really on the same level as other stuff. Cause, as I grow up, some of that stuff just doesn't really interest me anymore, and I kind of move on to watching different stuff on different streaming services.
My God, you are too young to be that cynical. All right, so we're going to wrap it up. In this particular case, I'm going to say that the experience was probably more profound and meaningful in the 80s and 90s than it is for you guys, just because you guys almost you take it for granted because you've got so much right there in front of you. And so again, I think there's a certain appreciation for us Gen Xers that we really embrace and remember our experiences with the Disney and the culture and the part that it played in us growing up. And I think we have some pretty fond memories. Not that you guys don't have good memories yourself. I just think that we have, in a sense, more powerful ones. So I'm going to leave it with that. I would love for anybody to leave any comments about what they like about Disney or what they remember. Please let us know favorite rides, favorite movies, things like that. That's fun to get a good discussion going. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed today, and thank you for listening. This has been the Gen X Dad and his Gen Z teens. Take care, everyone. See you next week. Bye.